Fueled by a rapid population growth and urbanization, waste generation has increased massively around the world in recent decades. Societies are drowning in a tidal wave of waste generation due to overconsumption, a lack of solutions, and perhaps even the will to deal with the waste crisis.
It seems that some societies are consuming 30 times more per capita than some of the ones which are developed. So there is certainly an overconsumption which can be curbed. And this leads to a specific requirement of lifestyle choices. Our lifestyle choices can mean that we do with fewer things. Instead of having 10 of an item, we have to do with 5 of an item. So these are lifestyle choices which grow towards greening of the planet.
India is the world's second most populous country and one of the fastest growing large economies in the world. The landfills in the country's megacities are filled to the brim. Thankfully, a large number of waste warriors are doing their bit to solve the waste crisis.
The sustainable waste management system, lot of scientific input is required, and we need to deal with it in a very sensitive manner, right from the collection, which has to be on a scientific basis, segregation into its components, which can be used, reused, recycled. Then is transportation to safer places, and finally safe disposal.
Solutions always depend on the conditions in which you are. Like for instance, if I were to compare India with another country, like saying Singapore, and say that they are able to incinerate everything, burn everything and put the ash and nothing happens to them. Or say that Japan combines the recycling along with incineration of their wet waste. Or Sweden, is even buying waste from other countries to run its incineration plants. It doesn't suit India. The reason being that the waste which is produced in India is different from those countries. As I said, we have predominantly waste which degrades on its own, which is the wet or the biodegradable component. And we really need to make sure that that doesn't get into what is recyclable. And that way we can recover resources from both these components, which are really have the possibility of generating livelihoods.
However, when it comes to managing waste, some Indian cities are paving the way. Indore, situated in Madhya Pradesh, has been ranked as India's cleanest city for the 5th year in a row by Swachh Survekshan 2021, the central government's annual cleanliness survey, to promote sanitation in urban centers under the Swachh Bharat mission. Amazingly, Indore managed to become India's cleanest city in only 1 year by segregating all waste at source. Indore generates over 1,000 tons of waste per day, and impressively, all of this waste goes for processing and treatment. This is achieved by having nearly 2,850 sanitation workers and over 800 waste collection vehicles. They travel door to door and transport the waste in partitioned vehicles with 6 separate spaces in each tipper. After collection, the waste is taken to a recycling center that further segregates the waste into 18 categories, and whatever is left over is burned in cement kilns.
It is because of the commitment shown by the people of Indore that we are able to set a new target each year and also achieve that target. Soon we will focus on the circular economy, upgrading waste processing and segregation. The people of Indore, the media, the corporates are always ready for such endeavors.
Indore also has a newly inaugurated large biomethanation gas plant that can produce 17,000 kilos of bio-CNG, generating an estimated 2.5 crore rupees or $325,000 for the municipal corporation. It also processes 500 tons of waste per day, creating 100 tons of organic compost.
इसमें जनरली आने वाला जितना भी वेट वेस्ट है उसको प्रोसेस किया जाएगा प्रोसेसिंग के लिए प्री ट्रीटमेंट यूनिट के अंदर वेस्ट पूरा प्रोसेस
At this plant, all the incoming wet waste will be processed. First, the waste will be processed in the pre-treatment unit, and from there, the processed waste will be sent to the digesters. In the digestion process, gas will be generated. The generated gas will then be sent for biogas upgrading. After reaching the upgrading unit, the gas will be compressed under high pressure. It will then get converted into compressed biogas, which will be used as fuel for vehicles. The extract that is left behind in the digester will be separated from the liquid and will eventually be used as a fertilizer.
रिमूव करेंगे उससे लिक्विड को सेपरेट करने के बाद वो जो सॉलिड रहेगा वो आपका एज अ फर्टिलाइजर आप उसको यूज कर पाएंगे.
One of the best case studies for seeing how a foul-smelling landfill has been transformed can be found in Bhopal, another city in Madhya Pradesh. The city in central India reclaimed 750,000 tons of legacy waste that covered 37 acres of land and served as the entire city's landfill. Bhopal generates 800 tons of waste every single day, and before 2017, the city of Lakes did not segregate its waste. After 30 years of sending all their waste to a landfill, it was becoming a health hazard, and remedial action had to be taken.
और जो लोग ट्रेन से
Earlier, while traveling to Bhopal via train from Delhi, you knew you were approaching Bhopal and you were greeted with a foul smell at Bhanapur. But that changed in 2018. It was a big challenge for us to treat this landfill scientifically and cap it properly.
करके प्रॉपर मन उसको कैपिंग करेंगे.
To sort out a dump site that was overflowing with decades-old waste covering an area 27 times larger than a football field was a tall order. But the municipality got to work.
पहला प्लानिंग ये था कि
Our plan was to allocate some portion of the site for biomining and some portion of the site for scientific treatment and biocapping.
अपना डंप में ट्रांसफर करके उसको साइंटिफिकली क्लोज करें.
21 acres is being used for biomining, and the remaining 16 acres was capped. Biomining involves segregating the waste into different categories, sending the appropriate waste to piles of either inert waste, RDF, or compost. The next step was to deal with the rest of the waste by biocapping. This involves digging a large hole in the ground that is covered with a thick plastic liner, and then refilled with a trapezoidal-shaped structure of waste. This is then covered with a membrane, soil, and grass. The process is repeated on top.
हम लोग उसका जो लीचेट जनरेट होता है, जो कचरा
Leachate is a highly contaminated liquid that is a byproduct of decomposition in landfills. We collect this leachate by installing a peripheral pipeline around the landfill. The collected leachate is treated in a leachate treatment plant.
देन उसको हम लोग एलटीपी में ट्रीटमेंट करते हैं, लीचेट ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट.
After 3 years of cumbersome work, the site has been completely transformed. Disposal of solid wastes is a widespread problem in both urban and rural areas, but it can be tackled. Meet Mewa Lal, the secretary of Muskan Jyoti Samiti. The organization has designed an economical and self-sustaining model of treating waste in the village of Niwari in Uttar Pradesh.
Muskan Jyoti Samiti is a Lucknow-based organization and is working in the area of municipal solid waste management since 1994. This technology implemented in Niwari has been designed by me.
The model uses aerobic waste treatment technology to convert solid waste into recyclable and reusable waste.
This technology is called aerobic waste treatment. 2 brick walls of 4 inches each are erected facing each other with a 4-inch gap between them. There are holes all along the walls to let the oxygen through. Waste generated in the kitchen and other organic waste like leaves etc. is stacked against the open-ended sides of the walls. A microbe culture is then added to the waste. It then takes 30 to 35 days for the waste to convert into compost.
इस तरह का जो वेस्ट आप देख रहे हो इसमें कॉटन है.
This pile of waste contains cotton, sanitary waste and single-use plastic products which are sent to factories where they are converted into coal, which is then gasified to generate electricity. This electricity powers many factories in Meerut.
वो मेरठ के पास कुछ फैक्ट्रियां हैं जैसे पेपर मिल है वो आज की डेट में इससे रन कर रही है.
This waste collection and treatment system in Niwari not only helps in the effective removal of the garbage but also generates jobs for the unskilled workforce of the village.
अगर रियली हमको कचरे मैनेजमेंट का अस्थायी समाधान निकालना है,
Decentralizing cities is the best approach to manage waste effectively. Dividing a city into 4 sectors can lower the cost of transporting waste, and it is always easier to manage a decentralized system.
Mewal Lal has taken this model to many other districts across India, and he's making a difference by engaging local communities. Involving communities into the process of recycling and segregating their waste at the source is key to achieving a manageable waste treatment plan for any society.
Nirvana country, which is in Gurgaon, is a small community of residents, over 2,000 to 3,000 households, where the RWA, largely managed by women and also men who are very interested in this particular process, they have given a very clear message to their residents to separate their biodegradable waste, which is the compostable waste, and they have organized a place where this kind of composting is happening, and the compost is of very high quality. It has been checked.
At Nirvana country in Gurugram, a comprehensive system of waste management has been put in place that saves the residents money while also reducing the amount of waste the society sends to a landfill.
So we at Nirvana have been doing this composting and solid waste management even before the norms set in, and the results are for everyone to see. By doing this, not only are we saving about 2 lakh rupees a year in cost of compost, but also saving a lot of waste from going to the landfill sites, which I think is the biggest problem in the developing cities in the urban context today. So we like to say that this is for every society should start doing it on its own, not wait for the government to tell us to do something, or look to support the government on the other side rather than the government telling us something to do.
If the waste is segregated at source, it is no longer a waste, it's a resource. At Nirvana, what we are doing is we have a 3-way waste segregation. Number 1 is the kitchen waste or the organic waste, which goes directly to our compost plant. Number 2 is the reject or the hazardous waste, which includes your sanitary waste, all your reject materials, your disposables. And number 3 is our plastic waste. It is to the credit of our rag pickers that they take care that every house is giving segregated waste, and every morning they come and collect the waste which is segregated.
This is our compost plant at Nirvana Country in Gurugram, and we are processing about a ton of kitchen and horticulture waste here every day, which means that by the end of the month we are generating close to 1.5 tons of beautiful compost. Once the kitchen waste comes here, it is mixed with the browns, which is the dry leaves and the dry horticulture waste, and we also add bioenzyme to it. Once shredded, It is put into these 200-liter drums and it stays here for about a week, and after that it is turned into the metal bins. It stays in the metal bins for about 1.5 to 2 months, and when it's fully cured and a beautiful form of compost, we use it in our parks and it's ready to use.
In this smart society, segregation and collection of e-waste and plastics for recycling is also regularly practiced.
We are sending low-value plastic for road making, and this is a process by which plastic coating is done on bitumen, and this is added to 8% material of the road that is made. This not only enhances the life of the road, it also helps us use the low-value plastic which would have otherwise gone to landfill or been burnt in a waste-to-energy plant.
We have sensitized our residents to practice the 3 Rs and much more and beyond. We have been able to save almost a ton of e-waste going to the landfills every year by giving it to government-authorized recyclers and sometimes even local vendors.
At Nirvana Country, everyone does their bit to ensure that nothing goes to waste. Even cigarette butts are collected and recycled.
We have kept a small bin over here to collect cigarette butts. And little did we know that they are made up of plastic. We all thought that this was cotton, but after digging a few rounds, we found out that this is cellulose acetone, which is like 98% plastic. We send our cigarette butts for recycling. They are turning these cigarette butts into teddy bears and cushions and stuff like that.
So the Swachh Bharat mission, I would say needs to even sharpen its messaging to say not door-to-door collection and then segregation, but segregation at source and collection of segregated waste in a segregated manner, transportation, and then taken to the correct facility for recycling. So this is the correct way to go about it.
Delhi-based GEM Enviro Management deals with recycling all kinds of plastic and packaging waste and is a one-stop shop for scrap solutions.
GEM Enviro Management Private Limited was formed in 2013, and the objective was to make a system of collection and proper disposal of the plastic waste. And we are collecting now more than 2.5 lakh tons of plastic waste every year. And we ensure that whatever we collect, it is recycled as per the legal and environmental norms of the country.
The company employs a small army of rag pickers for the collection and sorting of waste. In India, rag pickers have a key role in urban waste management, but since it's an informal sector, they usually have little or no access to protective gear and struggle with poor wages. GEM Enviro Management is committed to restoring the dignity of labor for these workers. It has employed over 3,000 rag pickers, given them fair wages and also offered healthcare benefits.
When I talk about the rag pickers, they are actually the eco-warriors who collect all this, what we litter out from the roadside, from all the other places, and from the smaller irrigators who bring them to a particular center. From that center, they are getting some value of that product. So we take care that they are being incentivized in a proper way. So they get the right price. What is the right price of the product or a bottle they should get? We do the health campaigns, regular checkup. We try to push them. We try to teach their children going to their society. So how we are pushing them and how we say how they can collect in a better way.
The rag pickers collect and deposit plastic bottles, which are cleaned and then recycled. The PET bottles are shredded into small flakes and then converted into fiber before being turned into yarn. This yarn is used to make recycled products like t-shirts, bags, toys, caps, ties, pillows, and even office stationery.
So besides this PET bottles, we are picking up all the other plastic which were left behind because of the no value. So we are bringing that plastic also into the channel and then making different products out of that parts. So it may be in the insulation, it may be in the granules which can be mixed with the virgin and then again remoduled into the other types of plastics.
GEM Enviro Management also aims to help other corporations fulfill their extended producer responsibilities, because at the end of the day, the manufacturers of PET bottles should bear a significant responsibility for the environmental impacts of their products.
Our main focus is with the general public around us. So we are saying, if you are throwing this waste, how this waste can be a wealth to the nation, to the public, to the people, how it can be recycled and made into the better product. It only not converts into the better product, but it saves our environment in many ways. Otherwise, it would be creating a havoc, which we are talking about today. So for the better tomorrow, we are working today. So it creates somewhere minimizes the consequences of all this.
Solid waste management is a universal issue that matters to every single person in the world. It is a global fight, which has been made even more challenging by the COVID-19 pandemic. The response to the pandemic has created an enormous amount of waste in the form of discarded PPE kits, masks and face shields. In fact, according to an MIT study, the pandemic is estimated to have created up to a staggering 7,200 tons of medical waste every day.
Health workers and members of the public rely on huge amounts of personal protective equipment, tests, chemicals, syringes, needles, and other disposable products to protect ourselves and others. But after we have used it, most of it ends up as waste. 30% of health facilities globally and 60% in the least developed countries are not equipped to handle existing medical waste loads, let alone the additional COVID-19 load.
Discarded face masks are often seen littering streets, clogging sewage systems, or ending up in landfills, where it can take up to 450 years to break down. It has put a tremendous strain on waste management systems around the world, but waste warriors around the world are coming up with novel ways to deal with the overflowing medical waste. Taiwan not only tackled the COVID-19 pandemic successfully, but is now recycling face masks in an imaginative way, repurposing plastic-based masks. Taiwanese firm MiniWiz recycles used face masks into wireless phone chargers, reducing the amount of plastic that ends up in a landfill.
The COVID-19 pandemic creates so much waste. A lot of single-use waste, especially all the plastic waste that's actually used to protect ourselves. And these plastic waste, especially the mask, is actually almost 100% made from plastic. It's polypropylene based. And we just thought, how can we turn that into a valuable product during this pandemic? So we thought about using this and turning that into a new generation of a wireless digital charger.
MiniWiz is making a difference by recycling this harmful waste into useful products. After collecting thousands of used face masks, the company has made over 40,000 chargers.